Happy New Year! We want to start off and say, I'm Doug.
And I'm Kathy.
And this is Maggie May.
She's back there.
She partied too much on New Year's.
That's right.
Join us as we follow the moon. And we want to start off today, as we started off the video, with some brand new stuff. You're getting to see for the first time tonight our new 2024 beginning to our videos. And at the end of this, be sure and stay through till the end because you won't want to miss the ending. So we wanted to wish you all a happy New Year's, talk a little bit about what 2023 brought us and what our plans for 2024 are.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting.
So with no further ado, let's dig into what a year 2023 has been.
Wow. Yeah, it was amazing. I can't believe all that we saw and did. It was crazy. It was a whirlwind.
And it was a little bit different in one respect, and I'm kind of putting the cart ahead of the horse here. But we ended up ending the year on a couple of parks and a couple of areas that we visited early in the year.
That's right.
Just by the way we were positioning ourselves. I believe the last video that you guys saw from us was Sedona the second time around. And Sedona the second time around is just as great as Sedona the first.
It sure is, and I don't think we duplicated too much either.
But we started the year off in Florida. We've ended the year in South Texas. This is our first winter outside of Florida
So we're officially winter Texans.
Yes, we found out it's not snowbirds down here.
That's
it's
right.
Winter Texans. And they all have little pictures of cowboy hats on the back windows of their car.
I've seen them wearing them too.
But Kathy, let's talk a little bit about just a real quick over what some of the highlights of this year have been as far as the travels.
Oh, wow. So much nature, so many cities, places that all up and down the Pacific coast, just everything it was so amazing. There were a lot of things that we saw that we did not expect.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of the things that we saw that we knew we were going to see were on so much of a different scale than what we ever imagined.
That's right. That's right. So
if you check back through our videos, you've seen a lot of the different mountains. A lot of them are volcanic, which I didn't realize so much in the West Coast was volcanic.
Yeah, or here in the United States.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty amazing. That also, along with the volcanic areas, were petroglyphs and pictographs and ancient dwellings.
Mm-hmm. On the ground and on the cave sides.
Yeah, and there were things that, you see the iconic ones and you think, oh, I got to go see that. And I don't know that we've seen the iconic one yet, but I have seen so many, and the variety of them was just so amazing.
We kind of planned this year with the big things in mind, like the cliff dwellings. We wanted to see the Gila cliff dwellings. But we found that they're not the only ones.
Yeah.
The same with petroglyphs National Monument. It's great, but there's petroglyphs all over in multiple states. We even found dinosaur footprints.
We sure did. And who would have thought rocks would be so interesting? Rocks. Another thing that really got me was, I was in the desert when I was real young, and I lived there for a lot of years out in Southern California, but I didn't remember how much green. We saw so much green. We'd go for miles and miles and miles, and the desert was covered. It was beautiful.
It surprised me, really the only I've been around was a short time. We've spent maybe a week in Southern California and then time at our daughter's in El Paso. And to me, the desert was brown.
Yeah.
And it wasn't this year at all.
And Arizona, we went to Arizona a few times, and it was all brown. It was sand,
I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
But I'll tell you my answer first.
Okay.
The biggest aha moment I had, the biggest thing that was nothing at all like what I envisioned it, was the state of Nevada. Nevada was impressive. I had it pictured as brown, flat desert. Let's just get driven through it. And there was so much to see and so much to do. And if you didn't like what you were seeing 30 minutes down the road, it was completely different.
That's right.
It busted a lot of stereotypes in my mind as far as what I had learned about geography out of books.
Yeah. Well, for me, along with Nevada, Idaho. Idaho blew me away. It was otherworldly. That's the way I looked at it. It was just, you didn't feel like you were on Earth anymore. And we hear people say that. It was actually Idaho, I believe, is where NASA trained a lot of their astronauts because it's so otherworldly. It was just, it blew my mind.
One of the things, if you've been watching our videos each week, I think one of your favorite spots was Washington State. And the only negative we had about Washington State, and you saw it in the videos, when we were there was wildfire season. So we didn't have anything that came near where we were. I think we were about 30 miles away from one of the fires at one point. So nothing that put us in peril or anything, but there was smoke. And if you had taken the smoke out and made clear skies, some of the places have been even more amazing than what they were.
The other thing too I had forgotten was all the fog along the coastline. It did, when we went to San Francisco, we were so fogged in.
The marine layer.
There's
a new term.
Layer, another thing was sand dunes. Sand dunes are everywhere. They're not just in the desert, but they are a lot in the desert and all up and down the coastline. And
I made it a big deal that I wanted to be sure that we stayed at Thousand Trails Pacific Dunes because it was right on the sand dunes. Then we found out that there was sand dunes in I think 5 or 6 other states that we were in. So, but it never got old.
It was beautiful. Yes, it was.
Weather-wise, I know we've kept telling you that it didn't rain the whole year. We traveled outside of the rain, not to say the whole area had no water that whole time. But I think we had 4 or 5 days of rain the entire summer. Now, it's been different coming to South Texas. It's been 2 or 3 days every week.
Yeah.
And there's a story coming on that one, too. But,
well, we did go through bad weather early in the year when we first left Florida. We ended up going through, we were in Alabama.
Jackson, Mississippi.
And Jackson, Mississippi, with some pretty rough weather around us. We were so lucky, so blessed.
We got it out of the way.
Yeah, that's right. So.
Well, speaking of Alabama, I wanted to talk a little bit about how our home did this year. And yes, we all live in houses going through earthquakes, and there's no doubt about that. We had one day that when we got to our campsite, I had one of my electric slides wouldn't come on, and then we turned on the air conditioners and little bits of black plastic came out of the air conditioning ducts. So as soon as we pulled in, I had to retime the slide, which is all that the slide took, and I had to go up on the roof. I had an extra squirrel cage for our air conditioner, so changed that out, and within an hour after we were there, we had everything taken care of. Those are the kind of problems we like. We had little things like the latch on the refrigerator door decided, I think it was right at a travel day.
Oh, yeah, it was in the middle of a travel day.
That it wasn't going to latch it shut anymore, so, but put a new latch on, everything's fine. The only 2 big things that we had were air conditioners. All 3 of our air conditioners have soft starts on them, and the one soft start went out while we were still in Florida before we had left for our travels this year, and the other 2 went out within 3 days of each other in Las Vegas of all places. So, but
if you kept up with our route, you'll know that from Florida to Vegas, we had already gone all the way up the coast and we were coming back down. But the nice thing was we were hitting such beautiful weather. It goes back to that weather.
So thank you out to John Bohannon at Freedom Mobile. I got him on the phone and he walked me through unwiring one of the soft starts. So we were back on 2 of our air conditioners, and then a phone call to Soft Start, and they replaced them under warranty and sent me out replacement units. So again, not big deals. The other one that was a big deal was our Aqua Hot. We have the 250D, the small Aqua Hot, that has been known to have problems with burning up control thermostats. And so we had contacted Tiffin and agreed that replacing the unit was probably our best bet.
Yeah.
So we replaced our 250D with the new version 250D version 2, and had a fellow in California that was authorized Aquahot came out, did the installation at our campsite, and had it shipped into him. So he brought it out with him, made it very smooth and painless. 2 months later, it went down because it was built with one of the old control thermostats. So far, it's working great. I think we're over that hurdle now, finally.
You do learn to live with some of those things that are happening like that, because sometimes they're a little more longer term than you would hope.
Yep.
But hey, this is, this is about life, and you'd have stuff go wrong with your house if you were in a sticks and bricks too.
So we ended up this spring at Red Bay. We did a couple of little remodel things. We put additional storage
nice.
in. We put our rear fireplace in, which has been very nice on cooler nights. We've got electric heat now in the front and the back. So
funny thing is, Maggie likes to lay back in front of it whether it's blowing or not.
we also put in a couple more Battleborn lithium batteries. So we've got 6 batteries in our 600 amp hours of lithium power now. So the next thing, campgrounds. We stayed in some very memorable places, and almost all of them for good reasons.
Absolutely. They were, I would say along the way, they were most of them just fantastic.
We did a big shift, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next section, but we did a big shift this year and did a lot more Thousand Trails and Encore Park stays, and we did fewer non-planned parks. In other words, we used our Passport America, we used Coast to Coast, we used the things that we had at our disposal, but there are still times that you want to stay in an area and you don't have a park there.
Yeah.
So we stayed in fewer private campgrounds and more Trails Encore park plans. We'll tell you what that did to our RVing budget also, but we did have a first. And this actually just happened about a month and a half ago. We had just gotten into Texas. We were in an Encore park and did the park review on it and everything. The park was great. We have no qualms with the park. But it was a grass site, and 2 days before we were ready to move, and it was a 20-minute move, so I was looking forward to this being fast and easy. I pretty much buried the coach.
It happened really quick.
It happened really quick. Just getting out of our space and onto the paved road, we didn't make it. And the park was wonderful. This park happens to not have the office open on the weekends. So it was a phone call to the number posted for the manager, and they immediately arranged to have a 70-ton tow truck come in and winch us out of there, which didn't take them 10 minutes.
No.
We were completely back on the road and ready to travel. But the park took care of coordinating everything, getting it all taken care of, and getting us out of our spot. So the folks at Paradise South, thank you very much. You made
thank you.
incredibly bad situation incredibly good. So thank you. A little bit on the budget. I'm going to refer to some notes as I do this.
Yeah.
Because I'll never keep it straight. We're going to take this and post it on our blog site at followthemoon.us. And so you can see the specifics. But the biggest change that we had in our camping expense, we had 91 paid nights during 2022. We only had 48 paid nights in 2023. Our Thousand Trails went from 227 up to 293. And you guys have seen the locations that we've been bringing you in the videos. I can't tell you how much Thousand Trails and Encore put these parks in really good locations that are central to a number of different things to do. So kudos to them. Our paid nights averaged $44.56 a night. Our 1,000 Trails nights, $6.16 a night. Passport America, $25.29 a night. And Coast to Coast, $23.42 a night. So for the year, 365 nights, we spent in 2022 $6,466, which I thought was darn good.
Mm-hmm.
In 2023, we spent $4,449. Thank you again to 1,000 Trails. We went from $17.71 a night down to $12.19 a night average for the entire year. Cannot complain about that.
That's right.
As far as travel expenses, we traveled within 150 miles of the same amount in the 2 years, 9,097 miles to 9,290 miles. We used more diesel this year. We went from 937 gallons up to 1,021. Our mileage dropped a little bit from 9.7 towing the car in 2022 to 9.1 in 2023. The mountains.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Absolutely.
It had to be the mountains.
Yeah.
It was only 0.6 of a mile of a gallon.
But it was worth it.
Absolutely.
Totally worth it.
But fuel prices have come down so far from 2022 that even though we burnt more diesel, about 80 gallons more diesel, we spent almost $1,000 less on diesel. $4,900 in 2022 down to $3,980 in 2023. So our cost per mile to run the rig went from 54.1 cents in 2022 per mile to 42.8 cents per mile. A lot of that was help with TSD. And while our TSD savings weren't quite as much this year, they were still huge. They were less because the dollar amount was less. We saved $595 in 2022. We saved $470 in 2023. If you guys are using diesel and you're not on TSD, please pull up the link in our description. It's in every single video. It'll tell you how to sign up for TSD. It doesn't cost you anything, and it will save you. It saved us over $1,100 in the last 2 years. That's a lot of travel.
Yep.
So, last but certainly not least, is where are we going from here?
I have no idea.
We are going to cover...
We're going to fill in the rest of that map.
That's right. We'll show you a picture of our map, and there's 2 areas that are not covered. There's 8 states in the middle of the country and 6 in the New England states that we had to cut off of our route last year. So, this year, those 8 states, which if I can do this, we are going to go through Oklahoma, but then we get into Utah, Colorado, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming.
I think Kansas was in there somewhere.
Kansas is in there, yes.
Yeah.
And we'll probably catch part of Idaho. We'll probably catch a little bit more of Arizona.
Yep.
There'll be a few others, but those 8 states are our itinerary for this next year.
Yes.
And because that's an area we haven't really explored, either one of us at any point, if you guys have any suggestions of places that we absolutely don't want to miss, and it doesn't have to just be the big national parks, because we're finding that some of these state parks and other areas have things that are just as, if not even more incredible in a lot of times.
Sometimes the locals can tell you about a place that nobody knows about and is amazing. I think we've gotten a few of those.
Absolutely. So we want to go ahead and wrap this up. Anything else that you want to add, Kathy?
Did we do the favorites?
No, we didn't.
What do you have as a favorite?
Favorite place?
Yeah.
You know, we had 2 stops in a row, and it's hard for me to pick out which one to be favorite, but they were back to back. We were at South Lake Tahoe, which I think Lake Tahoe has got to be one of the most beautiful destinations I've ever seen. The lake, the mountains, it was just incredible. And we left from there and went to Las Vegas. And we spent one evening driving up and down the strip. We never made it into a casino.
Yeah.
But there's so much between Red Rocks and I can't think of the other one that I wanted. One was just to the east of town, one was just to the west of town, but they are both.
Oh yeah, the Valley of Fire.
Valley of Fire. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was it. But between those two places, they're so different, but it's so hard for me to pick one or the other.
Yeah, I get it.
What about yours?
Well, for me, I would say it was between Washington and Idaho. That smoke didn't bother me. I couldn't smell it. It never affected me, my breathing any.
It looked like haze in the air.
Yeah, it was kind of like what we had seen going along the coast as we went through redwoods and all up there when we'd have that marine layer, except that this was smoke. I did learn to use the smoke app, Firewatch.
I believe so.
Something like that. Maybe we should put that on the thing. I'll look it up. But Idaho, and I've already talked about Idaho, how that blew me away, how amazing that was.
Yeah, we were told, and again, we do really appreciate your suggestions. We were told if we went anywhere, we had to see Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
We found some places that I think in both of our books were even more outstanding than that.
Yeah.
So we do have everything set up for you guys in playlists. All of our travels for 2023 are in the 2023 travel playlist. All of the campgrounds, there's one just for the campgrounds, there's one for Thousand Trails, one for Coast to Coast, one for Encore. They're all broken up that way. So anything that we talked about that you haven't seen, it's real easy to find in the playlists. And if you have any suggestions as far as places to put on our 2024 map, the area of the country we're going to be in, leave it in the comments below. We certainly appreciate it. We've gotten some great recommendations in the past.
Now, we've been talking about last year, but if you're familiar with all of the West Coast and you're going to be heading into the central part of the states, not necessarily up the coast going north, but the central part, that was all last year's, and we have those in a collection as well. So you might check those out if you're going to be traveling in that area.
Yeah, that'll be, our travels are in one, but we also have them by East Coast, Middle America, and West Coast.
Yeah.
So it's...
Doug takes care of all that.
Anyhow, we appreciate you guys coming along with us. If you have any friends that you think would be interested in coming along with us, invite them. Share our channel with them. We appreciate it. We now, in our new ending, at the end of each video, in the upper left-hand corner, upper right-hand corner, my left hand, but I'm on the other side of the screen.
Yeah.
You'll see a button there. Just tap on that button. It'll let you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to ring the notification bell so you'll know when all of our videos come out.
And thank you for following us as we follow the moon.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.